everybody, are you working hard? I'm hardly working, and today we're changing up the formula. Partly you could tell I'm not wearing my glasses, and no, I don't have contacts. I've just decided that I'm kind of sick and tired of all the glare on my face, and I don't know if you are too, but I just don't want to keep looking at that, is the thing. So, changing the formula does not actually just mean getting rid of the glasses. My actual plan here is I want to change how I approach these reviews, because I feel like I've kind of fallen into a repetition of similar patterns, and I don't want to do that. I want to basically just talk about my passion in a film, or lack thereof. And so the first thing I'm going to be doing is not ranking films based on a scale. I'm just going to talk about them. So from here going forward, my plan is to basically just put spoilers in the name of the video, and just anyone who wants to watch it can, and anyone who doesn't want to doesn't have to. There's no particular reason for them other than I just want to share my thoughts and opinions at this point, and that's kind of what I want to do with it, because I think that that's going to be more fun than trying to justify a scaled system that I have no basis for, and I clearly was not trying hard enough to come up with anything more than a point or two difference between a couple of them. You know, I just really like movies for the most part, or I really don't like them. That's kind of how I knew things would swing, and recording as many of them as I have, I don't appreciate the ones like that. So that's what's changing. I might end up going back and re-recording some of the ones I haven't posted yet, just to not have a scaled system, but I might not. I guess we'll see how that goes. You'll easily be able to tell some of them, since I'll still be pre-haircut me. But again, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. In the meantime, we're here to talk about Infinity War, because I just saw that a couple days ago now. I went to opening night. It was awesome. Went for a friend's birthday, and not that you need to be worried about how I got there or got home, but I'd bribed a friend into going by buying him a ticket, and he couldn't make it, so I ended up giving it to my dad, which I think he appreciated, both me covering a ticket for him for once, and also us getting to see the movie, even though I was technically there with other friends. It wasn't weird. It was honestly, it was a good time. But that's my headspace, I guess I was in, is I had friends and family there. So maybe that's swinging my opinion into more positive. I don't know. It was a pretty good time, though. That's, I think, the basis of this is Infinity War was a pretty good time. I see other people have already started commenting saying that it's the best Marvel movie, and I'm not going to agree with that. I still feel like my favorite Marvel movie is either Guardians of the Galaxy or Ragnarok, because they were both hilarious, and I loved them, and they also had, I think Guardians probably overtakes Thor, just because Guardians also had that incredible moment where they're trying to come up with a plan, and I was blown away because it was their one use of the F-bomb, and it was so purposefully used, and because they joked about using it before, but they didn't, and then when they did use it, it was like a sigh, just the sad, defeated use of it, which you don't expect in a PG-13 movie. And I'm talking about the wrong movie right now, but my point is that there are some Marvel films I prefer, but Infinity War is easily my favorite Avengers movie, which is saying something, because I really thought the first Avengers was way better than Ultron. Not that Ultron was bad. Again, discussions. I guess I should start calling them as film discussions. I'm going to get to later. But Infinity War had some really great moments for me. I loved everything with Spider-Man. I think I'm going to call it the Iron Spider suit, because I've never actually read any comics with the Iron Spider suit. And it definitely seemed like that's what they were going for with it. I thought that was great. I think Tom Holland, every film he's been in, you're nailing it as Spider-Man. I mean, my opinion, again, Spider-Man's only gotten better with each iteration. I know there's a lot of people who prefer the Sam Raimi Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire to Andrew Garfield's. I don't know who directed that one. I'm sorry. Feel bad about that. But I've always, to me, they always got better And I think it had a lot to do with the writing. I think that the writing got more and more snarky with the comments and everything. And this one just feels right to me, especially with the age that they're giving him. Instead of rushing him into adulthood like well, that's not true. Amazing Spider-Man let him be in high school in the first movie, didn't it? But still, it felt a little rushed nonetheless, because they kind of hired guys who look like adults. And Tom Holland, who I'm pretty sure is age-wise an adult, has one of those baby faces, which is great for Hollywood. You know, it's one of the things I regret about myself. I mean, I believe I have a youthful appearance when I shave, but I'm still 6'4", and so it's hard to play a young guy when you're a giant. You know, it just doesn't mesh well with people's heads, and so that's a problem for me. No big deal. Again, I'm making this about, well, you know what? To heck with it. These are my discussions, and I get to handle them however I want. So, Spider-Man, A+. Thor's new axe. Let's here's the thing. If you didn't see Ragnarok, Mjolnir was busted up by his sister, who, based on the murals we see in the throne room, was the original owner of Mjolnir anyway, which makes me wonder if Odin added the if he be worthy, they receive the power of Thor. Like, I don't know if he added that when he first spoke into it, and he sent the hammer. That must have been it, I guess, was the case. I just figured that he was reciting what was already written on the hammer, but no, he must have put that on there right then and there. Anyway, she was the first owner of Mjolnir, it looked like, and she just broke it like it didn't matter. And so Thor needed a new weapon, and he gets help forging an axe from the giantest dwarf in the world, and it was awesome because I was so happy. I was freaking out. Peter Dinklage was the dwarf, and he's like twice the size of Thor. It was awesome. It was so cool. And then the fact that they couldn't find the handle, so Groot gave up some wood, and to me that kind of makes the weapon more alive than if it were just a dead piece of tree. You know, it's like, this is a part of Groot, which we've seen a single stick can regrow a Groot. So I really do feel like there's some living essence to his weapon now, and I think that's awesome. And I can't wait to see where that goes. One thing that did bother me is that Strange, I felt like, could have just taken them home, or even gone home himself with the eye if, you know, Tony really wanted to go fight, because he can make portals. You know, why would they need a starship when he can make portals? And I rationalized later on my ride home with my dad, potentially the portals are only capable of working on a planetary scale. But even if that's the truth, we've still seen him travel to other dimensions. So I have to wonder why he doesn't open up a gate to another dimension and kind of walk through that like a road, you know, and then take a portal from that dimension back to our dimension that'll get him on or closer to Earth to be able to teleport again. Because that seems like a smarter plan to me, taking the whole fight to Earth. I mean, you're putting Earth at stake, at risk, but worth it. At least in my opinion, you know. I like watching Tony's story unravel in the Marvel movies. I mean, I miss having Iron Man films because they're honestly the best films in the Marvel series. It's the first Iron Man, I think, is probably hands down my favorite Marvel movie. I just don't often list it when I'm talking about my favorites because it's the first one, and I feel like that gives it first place, hands down. Movies 2 and 3, I didn't used to love as much. I liked 2, but I felt like it was too similar to 1, and then I rewatched it recently, and I feel like it really improved. I have a better appreciation for it than I did before. And the same for 3, where I thought it was really great that he had his PTSD that they were dealing with, but I was like, why would he spend the whole time without the suit? And it's like, well, because in 2 and 3, Tony needs to learn to separate himself from the suit because he is Iron Man, but Iron Man isn't him, if that makes any sense. And he needed to learn to separate the two. And I think to an extent he did, but now with the whole nanomachines and him healing himself with nanomachines, my dad thought he was just sealing up the wound. I'm thinking that somebody may have added some machine parts to their body making them a bit less human than they used to be. Just a theory. Well, we'll see, I suppose. Hulk. Gotta talk about Hulk. A lot of people seem disappointed by that, and to an extent I am too. But I think other people are disappointed because, oh, why was the Hulk out of the fight? That's a lame joke. Why would you do that? And it's like, well, it's not a joke. The Hulk lost a fight, and if you've been watching the movies, Hulk has never lost a fight. No matter who he's challenged, he's always won or been told to stop fighting it. But that's not a loss. That's just being, having your leash pulled in. That one time it was pulled in being Ragnarok, where he tried to attack Satyr, I think was the giant, fiery Chernobog looking guy. He he smashed his face, and Thor was like, "No, you big stupid moron. Let him destroy Asgard. Big scary monster. For once in your life, don't smash." And that led straight into Thanos and him fighting Thanos, and Thanos kicked his butt. And Hulk, I think, has some, real fear because of it, because he's never lost any fight. And now he's got some performance issues. And making jokes about that doesn't seem wrong, Problem to me is that it feels less like character arc for Hulk growing into someone who can feel fear and then overcome it. And it feels more like, yeah, there's a lot of fights where if the Hulk were here, it would pretty much be over with, since Thanos is the only one that could kick his butt. So we're just going to neuter him and make sure he doesn't show up and end everything really fast. Which, I get why he had to lose, right? We had to set how strong Thanos is. But by having a fight where the heroes combined could stop Thanos, again, that's really weakening the Hulk, who I feel like in a fight doesn't lose easily to a whole group of people. I mean, that's the whole point of the Hulk, is he's scary powerful. He just wins, Calling him Incredible Hulk is not, you're not overselling anything. He's incredible. That's the way I feel about the Hulk. I feel like that wasn't treated super well. And then Thanos, I gotta talk about, because they changed his character drive, his reason for being, I've never read comics with Thanos. I'm gonna say that right now. Everything I know, I've read on wikis and talked to my friends about. But this is things I've known for years. So when I talk about it, I'm not the most knowledgeable, but I am coming from a place where I've built an opinion, and that's why I'm disappointed. So from what I understand, Thanos, as he's at least most popularly recognized, is in service to Lady Death. Now, whether she appreciates the service or not, I'm not super sure of. From what I've read recently, trying to look into it, it does look like initially he was kind of her champion, but she decided she didn't like his hope to eradicate half of life in the universe to appease her. The reasoning I was given for years was that he was in love with her, and he thought that sending her death would be like a bouquet of roses, and it was his way of expressing his love, and that he can't die because she thinks he's gross and doesn't want to spend time with him, which honestly, I hope is the real story, because I love that idea that Death is so disgusted by a being that she refuses to let him die to spend eternity with him, but by forcing him to live, he's killing more people, and so she's risking the entire universe because she doesn't want somebody coming around trying to slip into her DMs. Slide, whatever. So, yeah, I think that's pretty great. So, that's the reasoning that I was led to believe, is Thanos was trying to do everything for Lady Death. In the movie, he, on his planet, instead of being the one to kill everybody, he watched everyone die because they refused a self-purge in order to keep the resources up. And he's the last of the Titans, and he decided the rest of the universe had to go through what he couldn't follow through with in order to save themselves. And I get part of the reason is it's a more sensible idea. Like, it's crazy. I'm not supporting what he did, but I am saying that I can see where somebody might sympathize with the idea, because there is a small part of me that's like, well, I can see his rationality. I think he's crazy still, but I can definitely see where he's coming from, especially having lived through something like he had, but it still changes the drive. And when I looked into it, there was an article I found, I don't remember what site, but it came out like a day or two before the movie, talking about how Lady Death wasn't going to be in the film and the reason behind it. And so the writers knew. They were fans of Thanos comics and everything, and they decided not to include Lady Death and instead to go a different way, according to them, because they didn't want to have to introduce her as a character to try and justify Thanos' drive, because there are people coming to these movies who haven't read the comic books, and that's fair. I don't like saying that, because it's like, know the material if you want to appreciate the film, but that's a ridiculous expectation of anybody. I've been to see plenty of films based on books that I hadn't read. Not many. You know, most of the time if I'm going to go see one, I've read the book, unless I didn't know there was a book. You know, I'm not everybody's me, so I can't even hold them to my expectations. So it's I get it. I get that you need to justify everything within the film. And I also feel like with all the Thanos teasers we did, we could have avoided this issue by, I don't know, over the last decade, maybe teasing Lady Death with other post-credit scenes with Thanos in them. Just maybe we could have done that, you guys, because then we could have done the Lady Death thing, which would have been great, because, hey, she's an eternal being, one of several that were created with the universe, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, that aside, it was good for what they did with it. I was just disappointed to not get what I was hoping to see, is all. Especially since if Disney acquires Fox, because I think that's not necessarily concrete or anything. I just hear that the talks got better since it leaked that they were going to be happening. And after that, you know, things just could happen. My point is, if Deadpool could join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which would be pretty neat, it's unfortunate that him and Thanos probably will never have beef over Lady Death, because why would they? Thanos doesn't have that drive anymore. And I was really hoping that when he had his moment with Kid Gamora after everything, that would be revealed as Lady Death, and those of us who knew could be like, and those people who didn't could just look it up, because honestly, there's no reason you can't research a movie after you've seen it if you're confused by something that's kind of an Easter egg for the audience. But that's just me. Anyway, I know that I kind of talked crap about this a bit, but honestly, that's just because I like it so much. Like, it's really easy to just keep the things I appreciate to myself and kind of vent the things that I dislike, because I appreciate what I appreciate. You know, that's locked into my heart. Everything else I'm keeping out, and so that's just kind of regurgitated to you, and I'm sorry if that's confusing or if you dislike it, but that's me, and that's kind of probably what a lot of these are going to be like. After this discussion, just now, I'm kind of feeling like some more Marvel movies are in order, so if that's not really what you're looking for, I apologize, but it's probably going to be what I'm watching and reviewing for a little bit, because I like them, and I got some opinions I'd like to share about them. I think that's it. Avengers, Infinity War. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Probably shouldn't have watched this, because I spoiled a lot. I'll see you all next time. Take care.